Welcome to my channel, My Teacher. Hello students, Unit 14 in 10th Biology is Transportation in Plants and Circulation in Animals. In this video, I am going to explain about the structure and working of heart. Structure of human heart. Heart is a muscular pumping organ that pumps out the blood into the blood vessels. Human heart is situated between the lungs, slightly tilted toward the left and above the diaphragm in the thoracic cavity. The heart is made up of specialized type of muscles called the cardiac muscles. So, the muscles of the heart are called cardiac muscle. Where it is situated? It is placed between the lungs, above the diaphragm in the thoracic cavity. The heart is enclosed in a double-walled sac called pericardium. It contains lubricating pericardial fluid which reduces friction during the heartbeat and protect it from mechanical injuries. See the diagram. The internal structure of heart is displayed. The human heart is four-chambered. Which are the four chambers? The two upper thin-walled chambers of the heart are called auricles or atria, and two lower thick-walled chambers are called ventricles. The chambers are separated by partition called septa. The septum between auricles and ventricles prevent the mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. The two auricles are separated from each other by interatrial septa. The left atrium is smaller than the right atrium. See the right atrium showing blue colored means it contains deoxygenated blood. The right atrium receives deoxygenated blood from different parts of the body through the main veins. They are superior vena cava, inferior vena cava and coronary sinus. Pulmonary veins bring oxygenated blood to the left atrium from the lungs. The right and left auricles pump blood into the right and left ventricles respectively. The ventricles form the lower part of the heart. The two ventricles are separated from each other by an interventricular septum. The left and right ventricles have thick walls because the ventricles have to pump out blood with force away from the heart. From the right ventricle arises the pulmonary trunk, which bifurcates, that is divides to form right and left pulmonary arteries, where this blood is carried to. The right and left pulmonary arteries supply deoxygenated blood to the lungs of the respective side. The left ventricle is longer and narrower than the right ventricle. The walls are about 3 times thicker than the right ventricle. The left ventricle gives rise to aorta. The oxygenated blood is supplied by the aorta to various organs of the body. That is why the walls are very thick to push the blood towards aorta. The coronary arteries supply blood to the heart. Valves. Observe the valves in the diagram. What is the purpose of valves? The valves are the muscular flaps that regulate the flow of blood in a single direction and prevent backflow of blood. The heart contains 3 types of valves. Right atrioventricular valve or tricuspid valve. Observe the tricuspid valve, where it is located. Yes, it is located between the right auricle and right ventricle. It has three thin triangular leaf-like flaps and therefore called tricuspid valve. The apices of the flaps are held in position by chordae tendineae arising from the muscular projection of the ventricle wall known as papillary muscles. Left atrioventricular valve or bicuspid valve or mitral valve. Find out the mitral valve and its position. It is located between the left auricle and left ventricle. It has two cusps and therefore called bicuspid valve or mitral valve. Semilunar valves. The major arteries, pulmonary artery and aorta, which leave the heart have semilunar valves, which prevent backward flow of blood into the ventricles. They are pulmonary and aortic semilunar valves. You can see them from the picture. Types of blood circulation. The blood circulates in our body as oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. There will be no mixing of pure and impure blood in our body. The types of circulation are systemic circulation, pulmonary circulation and coronary circulation. First one, systemic circulation. See the pathway of systemic circuit from the diagram. Circulation of oxygenated blood from the left ventricle of the heart to various organs of the body and return of deoxygenated blood to the right atrium. Aorta carries oxygenated blood to all organs of the body. Second one, pulmonary circulation. You can see the pathway there, pulmonary circuit. The path of pulmonary circulation starts in the right ventricle. Pulmonary artery arises from the right ventricle, reaches the lungs with deoxygenated blood. You know already, pulmonary artery is the only one artery which carries deoxygenated blood. Pulmonary veins collect the oxygenated blood from the lungs and supplies it to the left atrium of the heart. Here also you can understand these are the only veins which carry oxygenated blood. Third one is coronary circulation. The supply of blood to the heart muscles, that is cardiac muscles, is called as coronary circulation. Cardiac muscles receive oxygenated blood from coronary arteries that originated from the aortic arch. Deoxygenated blood from the cardiac muscles drains into the right atrium by the coronary sinuses. When the blood circulates twice, that is 2 times, through the heart in one complete cycle, it is called a double circulation. In double circulation, the oxygenated blood do not mix with the deoxygenated blood. However, in some animals, the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood are mixed and pass through the heart only once. This type of circulation is called single circulation. Examples are fishes, amphibians and certain reptiles. Heartbeat. One complete contraction, that is systole, and relaxation, that is diastole, of the atrium and ventricles of the heart constitute heartbeat. The heart normally beats 72 to 75 times per minute. What is the purpose of this contraction and relaxation? It is for pumping the blood from the ventricles to aorta and pulmonary artery respectively for circulation. Initiation and conduction of heartbeat. The human heart is myogenic in nature. It is made up of muscles. Contraction is initiated by the specialized portion of the heart muscle, the sinoatrial node or SA node, which is situated in the wall of the right atrium near the opening of the superior vena cava. You can see the SA node in the picture. The SA node is broader at the top and tapering below. It is made up of thin fibers. Sinoatrial node acts as the pacemaker of the heart because it is capable of initiating impulse which can stimulate the heart muscle to contract. So, which is the pacemaker of the heart? Sinoatrial node. The impulse from the sinoatrial node spreads as a wave of contraction over the right and left atrial wall, pushing the blood through the atrioventricular walls into the ventricles. So, starting of contraction is from the auricles. The auricles contract, pushing down the blood to the ventricles. Wave of contraction from SA node reaches the atrioventricular node, which is stimulated to emit an impulse of contraction spreading to the ventricular muscle via the atrioventricular bundle and the Purkinje fibers. So, after the contraction of auricles, the ventricles filled with blood. From the ventricle, after contraction, blood is pumped through the aorta and pulmonary artery. Pulse. Did you ever check your pulse? You can feel it by keeping your finger above the wrist. When the heart beats, the blood is forced into the arteries. The expansion of the artery every time the blood is forced into it is called pulse. It can be felt by placing the fingertip on the artery near the wrist. Normal pulse rate ranges from 70 to 90 per minute. Cardiac cycle. The sequence of events occurring from the beginning to the completion of one heartbeat is called cardiac cycle. During cardiac cycle, blood flows through the chambers of the heart in a specific direction. Each cardiac cycle lasts about 0.8 seconds. The events during a single cardiac cycle involves atrial systole, that is contraction of auricles 0.1 second. Ventricular systole, contraction of ventricles 0.3 second. Ventricular diastole, relaxation of ventricle 0.4 second. See the diagram displaying the cardiac cycle. Half of the time is taken for ventricular diastole. Heart sound. The rhythmic closure and opening of the valves cause the sound of the heart. The first sound, lub, is of longer duration and is produced by the closure of the tricuspid and bicuspid valves after the beginning of ventricular systole. The second sound, dup, is of a shorter duration and produced by the closure of semilunar valves at the end of ventricular systole. Blood pressure. Blood pressure is the force exerted during the flow of blood against the lateral walls of arteries. The blood pressure is high in the arteries, gradually drops in the arterioles and capillaries and become very low in the veins. Blood pressure is usually expressed in terms of the systolic pressure and diastolic pressure. Systolic pressure. During ventricular systole, the left ventricle contracts and forces blood into the aorta. The pressure rises to a peak which is referred to as systolic pressure. Diastolic pressure. During diastole, the ventricles relax and the pressure falls to the lowest value which is referred as diastolic pressure. What is a normal BP? In an healthy adult, during normal resting condition, systolic and diastolic blood pressure is expressed as 120 mm per 80 mm Hg. Blood pressure varies during conditions of physical exercise, anxiety, emotions, stress and sleep. A prolonged or constant elevation of blood pressure is a condition known as hypertension or high blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack and stroke. Then decrease in blood pressure is termed hypotension or low blood pressure. Both the conditions explains that the person is not healthy. Maintaining a normal BP shows we are having good health. Stethoscope. There is no need to show the picture, isn't it? You people are familiar with that equipment which are used by the doctors or nurses. A stethoscope is used to detect a sound produced by the internal organs of human body. The heart sound is heard by placing the stethoscope on the chest. It is a useful diagnostic tool to identify and localize health problems and diagnose disease. The modern electronic stethoscopes are high precision instruments. Sphygmomanometer. Sphygmomanometer is a clinical instrument used to measure blood pressure when a person is in a relaxed and resting condition. The pressure of the brachial artery is measured. It helps to estimate the state of blood circulation and the working of the heart. You may have observed it also how the nurse is checking your BP using this instrument. It helps to diagnose conditions such as increased or decreased blood pressure. Monometric and modern digital types are the apparatus used to measure blood pressure. Blood groups. What is your blood group? Do you know? The concept of blood grouping was developed by Karl Landsteiner in 1900. He identified blood groups A, B and O. AB blood group was recognized by D. Castello and Steeny in 1902. Human blood contains certain specific substances called agglutinogens or antigens and agglutinins or antibodies. Antigens are found on the membrane surface of RBC. Antibodies are present in blood plasma. Based on the presence or absence of antigen and antibodies, human blood group is classified into 4 groups called A, B, AB and O. An individual has one of the 4 blood groups. A group individuals. antigen A is present on the surface of RBC and antibody B or anti-B is present in the plasma. B group individuals. Antigen B is present on the surface of RBC and antibody A, that is anti-A, is present in the plasma. AB group individuals. Antigen A and B are present on the surface of RBC and both the antibodies are absent in the plasma. O group individuals. Antigen A or B are absent on the surface of RBC. However, the plasma contain both the antibodies A and B. Here the thing to remember is AB group individuals having both antigens A and B present but no antibodies. In O group individuals, no antigens A and B are absent but both the antibodies A and B present in the plasma. Blood donation. June 14 is celebrated as World Blood Donor Day to thank the people who donate blood to save thousands of people. In blood transfusion, one must consider the antigen and antibody compatibility or matching between the donor, that is the person giving blood, and a person receiving blood, that is recipient. When an individual receives a mismatched blood group from the donor, agglutination or clumping of blood occurs in the body which leads to death. Persons with AB blood group are called universal recipient as they can receive blood from persons with any blood group. Persons with O blood group are called universal donor as they can donate blood to persons with any blood group. RH factor. While telling the blood groups, you may have heard O positive or O negative like that. From where this positive and negative came? It is based on the presence or absence of this RH factor. RH factor was discovered by Landsteiner and Weiner in 1940 in rhesus monkey. The surface of RBC contains the antigen for RH factor. RH positive persons have RH antigen on the surface of RBC, while RH negative persons do not have RH antigen on the surface of RBC. Antibodies developed against this RH antigen is called RH antibodies. I will explain the antigens and antibodies in each blood group. I have already told you antigens are found on the membrane surface of RBC and antibodies are present in plasma. Let us see in A blood group. Antigen is antigen A, antibody is anti-B. B blood group, antigen B, antibody anti-A. AB blood group, antigen A and B are present but there are no antibodies. O blood group have no antigen on RBC but both anti-A and B in the blood plasma. Let us see which people can donate blood to particular group. For A blood group people, they can donate blood to A and AB. B blood group can donate to B and AB. AB blood group can donate blood to AB only. O group person can give blood to A, B, AB and O. That is why O is referred as a universal donor. Let us find out from whom we can receive blood. A blood group people can receive blood from A and O. B can receive from B and O. AB blood group people can receive blood from A, B, AB and O. So, they are called as universal recipient. O blood group can receive blood from O blood group only. Lymphatic system. The lymphatic system comprises of lymphatic capillaries, lymphatic vessels, lymph nodes and lymphatic duct. And what is lymph? Lymph is a fluid that flows through the lymphatic system. The lymphatic capillaries unite to form large lymphatic vessels. Lymph nodes are small oval or pear-shaped structures located along the length of lymphatic vessels. Lymph. Lymph from the intercellular spaces drains into the lymphatic capillaries. Lymph is a colorless fluid formed when plasma, proteins and blood cells escape into intercellular spaces in the tissues through the pores present in the walls of capillaries. It is similar to blood plasma but is colorless and contains less proteins. The lymph contains very small amount of nutrients, oxygen, carbon dioxide, water and WBC. Functions of lymph. Supplies nutrients and oxygen to those parts where blood cannot reach. It drains away excess tissue fluid and metabolites and returns proteins to the blood from tissue spaces. The lymph also carries absorbed fats from small intestine to the blood. The lymphatic capillaries of intestinal villi, that is lacteals, absorb digested fat. Lymphocytes in the lymph defend the body from infections. Thanks for watching my video. If you like this video, kindly subscribe my channel, My Teacher.